and I picked up this Huffy. It's a 50's. I believe it's called a mainliner, but I haven't found the exact. I'm not really concerned about the exact year, but I know it's 50's. The gentleman I got off of gave me a great deal. I got fenders. I got a wrong fork for it, but I was just interested in the frame. And the fenders, it's got a little rack on the back that's factory OEM. So I'm not going to restore it. I'm just going to do like a retro mod on it, and I'm going to use this torquer I picked up as the wheel set, and it's got a Nexus 3-speed. So I'm going to cannibalize this bike to put on the mainliner. This is a 26. The one thing I am experiencing an issue with is seat post. I've always preached, if you're going to get a bike, an older one, try to get a seat post with it. This is a 13/16 Schwinn. It barely goes in, but I do have a little bit of the frame. The rear stays up here. I feel like they're bulging out a little bit. So I'm going to work on it a little bit and try to get that in there without tearing up too much, but I will probably try to mill this in here a little bit. It does need the bottom bracket. This is not factory stuff. It does have a tank on it. It appears all to be original. It's got a head badge. So I'm going to try to marry these two. That guy right there, the torquer 3-speed that's got the Nexus Shimano, and we'll see how much of that we can use on that guy, and try to put this back together and have a nice modern drivetrain on it with some nice white wall tires. And we'll try to build this thing for less than maybe 150, maybe 200 at the most. This guy here was only 40 bucks, and then this was around 70. So marry them together and see what we get out of it. All right. Hey, it's Eric with HoosierCycles. I've got the Huffy mainliner mocked up right now. I went ahead and broke down the torquer, the women's frame. I robbed the bottom bracket, the crank off of it. I actually got to use the headset, and I couldn't use the fork. It's just too short, but I did have a mountain bike fork without any type of cantilever stuff off of it on it. It's just a standard. This one I think came off that Univega. And I'm going to paint this, the fenders, like appliance white to match this. I've got the tank here. It's in really good shape. The graphics are still good. It's got like a airplane on it, like a modern, geez, it looks like a jet 50s. This is probably pretty cool, this bike. It's got a little patina on it, a little rust hole in there. That was from the battery. It looks like probably ate it. It could have been the wiring that came through, because I think this had a light on it, or just damage, got cracked or so. But trying to keep the cost down on this. I'm using a fender from a dyno deuce here on the front. It's got the flare to match the torquer flare. This is original torquer flare, or the torquer fender. And I'm just going to modify a bracket back here for it. And got the seat post to work. All I had to do is clean up inside here by the chainstay, the upper stays here. Just clean up inside a little bit, and the 13/16 it just dropped right in. And I'm going to try using as much as I can from the torquer, the crank. Probably going to change the chain wheel, the chain ring out, something a little bit more. I've got some older ones, more period correct. So the goal today is just to clean this frame up, wet sand it lightly, not trying to lose any of the graphics, and clear it, and then paint these fenders the same as this front, this white, and maybe try to do something fancy with I don't know, we'll see with the paint. We'll see if I can actually manage that, or I'll just leave them white. So that's the goal today, is get this thing painted up and maybe ready for assembly tomorrow. Well, I got the tanks cleaned up, and I put a little rust inhibitor on the inside so this won't continue to eat holes. If you can see light coming through there. But it's got a bunch of patina, which is just wonderful. This is what I like about this bike. It's not perfect, you know, it's not a perfect restoration or anything. That means it's a typical, you know, good rat rod. So this is these will be ready to go. I'm not going to paint these, clear them. That's all I'm going to do when I get the frame done. So that's the next thing to do. Just I'm going to wet sand the frame. And taking the bracket off here, that is ground off, and bent it so it will fit between the stays here. Now I got to figure out if I'm going to be able to get this mounted up here. I'm going to put a temporary bolt down here just to hold it in place. It's got a slot on it. That is, hold it there. I'm just going to pinch it in here. Snug it up as tight as I can. Square it up. I still don't know if I'll have chain clearance issues here, but I'll cut that. Let's see. Right here, I might have a chain clearance issue. Let me get this up. All right. There, you can kind of see it. Bottom bracket. I don't think there will. If there is, I can trim that. No big deal. Probably got about an inch to rotate it up or back. Now, how is this bracket going to lay? That's the question. Probably put it underneath. I have to trim that up so it fits a little tighter. I don't want to put it on top. I'm going to try to hide it a little bit. It's not too far off from the original holes. Definitely too tall. Could bend it down a little more. This will give me an idea. Come up just a little bit. That way I've got some adjustment. Still have adjustment down there. I think I'll put it right there and I can trim the top of it or even bend it more. So I'm going to mark some holes. Have an idea where it goes. I do want to hide it underneath though. New rivets in there. Move the slot over, up. Now we'll see how it fits in here. I'm going to run it underneath it. I'm probably going to have to modify it a little bit. I'll take this under and hide that. Give myself a little bit of fudge room so I can rotate it up or down. Just want to hold this in place. So like working with metal, you can move it. Punch down here. Whoop, that was in there, wasn't it? Let's move it by hand. There we go. Well, it actually works out pretty good. I'd probably put a spacer back here. That way to give me some adjustment. Well, that doesn't look too bad. Square back here. That'll tighten up there. And I got room to move it down if I need to. I got the tank all cleaned up. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the frame. The frame's all dry now. I haven't sprayed it yet with a clear. I think it looks pretty good. It's time to make some handlebars for this mainliner. So I got the frame cleared right now, and I'm going to turn something out with these 3 pieces here. So let me do some cutting and we'll see our progress. We get the bottom bracket in now. I'm going to start assembling the mainliner Huffy. So I decided to go with this chain ring, and I'm using the original bottom bracket and crank from the torquer. going to be using this JB Weld again technique. I know some people might not approve of the method, but with the amount of play, then find the cones. The difference in this movement in this headset here is so slight that tracking down a headset that fits in there is not worth it to me. This method never really fails. It's just a way to take up a little bit of slack. This is like a putty, plumber's putty, or got the epoxy and the activator, I guess, are all in one. If you've ever used those, kind of mash around. Use this on the bottom and the top. Get set for it. So I just coat that like so. Call it backyard if you want, backyard mechanicking. Okay, it's fender time. I'm going to try getting these on without beating them up too badly. Got some hardware picked out. I went ahead and shot them a rattle canned appliance white. Pretty generic. stem. But this is what I have. I'm going to use for the bars I built for this. In the future, I might find something different. For now, this is what I've got. I'm not sold on the bars, but they're done. I like them, but I don't know if they'll fit the bike. We'll have to see once I get them on here. Going with the Schwinn seat here. This one's like near mint. Got a speck of dust underneath. I just changed the clamp out underneath for the smaller. But it's just in really nice shape. This would have had a messenger seat, probably something similar to that, a bigger, wider one. The only messenger I have right now is on that dyno. I'd rather just leave it there. See if this tightens up. Get on the ground, we'll level it out. Now some wheels. These look directional. Yep. handlebars are next. You're either going to hate them or love them. The color is totally wrong. What I thought I was getting on paint was not the same. This is what the lid looks like. So right now, I'm just going to go with these bars. I might modify them later. I might just leave them on here. Backwards. No, they're not. You're going to hate these or love these bars. Now what really makes it unique is I've got a 3-speed here. Huffy mainliner, all done. Debating on the bars. The color I'm definitely not a fan of. The can said apple red, which didn't look like that. So, should have known. But I like this style. They feel comfortable. Fenders are a little bit wonky, but they work. This back one's way too high. But everything was used off the torquer. The only thing I traded out were the chain ring there and the pedals and a seat post. But fork. But the torquer, the bottom bracket was used, the headset was used, and the wheel set, which was important because of the Nexus 3-speed, which works flawlessly. The bike was, I took it off and wasn't ridden, I could tell. So I mean, I got some good parts for 40 bucks. Wheel set, tires, and bottom bracket headset, which this bike needed. Overall, I'm pleased with it. It was just a wet sanding of the frame, and then just white on the fenders themselves, and a fork. It's not a perfect paint job by any means. It's just a rat rod bike. Rides nice. If you've ever got a Nexus 3-speed, they actually ride really nice, the Shimano's. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll have some more stuff coming up. Some BMX bikes I got to get done for a swap meet coming up end of April. Thanks for tuning in again. This is Eric with HoosierCycles. Please subscribe.